Onika Marotra, I want to bring you in. Similarly, I want to talk about the Congress, Onika Marotra. With much fanfare, I still remember, and at that point of time, it was exemplary. But when Priyanka Gandhi stood and said 40% of tickets in the Uttar Pradesh elections will go to women, I do hope, Onika Marotra, that same yardstick would be applied when you're disbursing tickets for 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
I definitely hope so, and I'll pitch in for that, definitely, Preeti. That's there for sure. But let's get into the topic that we're talking about, Preeti, that, it's all about empowerment, because ultimately, after demonetization, look what happened to women. Whatever little money they could save, they should spend on the family affairs. Now with demonetization, with unemployment, with pricing rise, so much happening all over, they're unable to save anything, for the family. As said by Akshay also. The point is to empower them, rightly so. And Sheila ji started this with the girl child. She did that with education. Every girl child who went to school, after she crossed the 10th and 12th, got X amount of money. So that way, it was encouraged for them to study. Similarly, if women above the age of 18 gets a certain amount of money, it will definitely help to roll out the economy. Ultimately, they are the makers of the whole family system. So hence, I feel it's more about empowerment than, actually working on the vote bank and so on. Yes, the garb is always there. Appeasement, you please them. But technically speaking, and, if you talk about empowerment and rising the standard of the women, we feel that is the utmost important to make their hands more secure.
All right, okay, but you did get away, but you'll come back, Onika Marotra, very soon once your tickets are announced, and take it in writing. You know exactly how much percentage where women will be offered tickets. But yes, that's a conversation for another day. Amitabh Tiwari,
but we did that.
Because it was easy to do it in UP, Onika Marotra. Did you do it in Telangana? Did you do it in Madhya Pradesh? No. Amitabh Tiwari, I want to get you in. Ma'am, you and I both know better. There's no argument in this. You and I both know what went down. But Amitabh Tiwari, I'm getting you back into this conversation, and we'll cut across to Siddharth after that. There's a difference, Amitabh Tiwari, from SOPs and schemes to direct cash transfer. It's the direct cash transfer which seems to be the game changer in this where the vote is concerned. Do you reckon?
Yeah, of course, because in direct cash transfer, there is no leakage. The amount of money can be used as per the wish of the women. So either on the education of children or whatever they wish to. See, you were showing on the screen why the women vote is important, because even the turnout of the women is comparatively higher than men in the last few elections. And with 2% higher support to BJP in 2019 elections, that helped the party win 303 seats. However, as you mentioned, representation, the BJP list is out, but only 14%.
Amitabh Tiwari, we've lost you. There's a problem with your connection. We're going to try and reestablish that. Siddharth, let's pull you in and let me ask you the same question, where you said it is about empowerment of women. There is nothing stronger than politically empowering women. Putting women in positions of policy making is the biggest gift that you can give women for upliftment. So therefore, my question, lots of talk on women representation, lots of talk on getting women on board. Even in your first list, it's 14%. It's abysmal, Siddharth.
Preeti, first of all, I'll start with answering this question. It's not just talk. We brought a bill, we made it a law, we're going to implement it. We were the ones who, after independence, made it a bill. All these parties were the ones who have always opposed the women reservation bill, who have always stood against it. Some of them were even had to be, shunted out of the parliament, had to be taken away by the marshals when the women reservation bill was produced. Was when we were given them absolute majority, we brought it. That is point number one. Point number two, there's a difference between a promise and implementation. Had Arvind Kejriwal wanted to do this, he would have done it 6 months back. He could have implemented it and shown it to the people that, yes, I can do it. I have this much budget. I can appropriate this much amount. I'll just take 20 more seconds and I can do it. But he did not do it. It is totally, absolutely for his political gains. And it's very easy to make a promise.
Allow me a rebuttal.
Right.
You know exactly how many months before in Madhya Pradesh that you introduced the Ladli Behna scheme? And you increased the money of it as well?
Preeti, that is where the difference...
2 months before elections.
No, Preeti. That is where the difference is. Madhya Pradesh being a larger state, the innocence with which both my friends from Congress and Aam Aadmi Party were trying to explain the scheme, they should have, with the same innocence, also mentioned that Madhya Pradesh did it in a larger state with more number of women.
But
and
they did it in Punjab.
And they did it.
But Aam Aadmi Party has done it in Punjab.
And we did it when we were in power. Unlike Delhi, that we are approaching elections
But they are
and
in
we are
power.
saying, allow me to complete
Yes.
in 10 seconds. Unlike Delhi, when the Kejriwal government is saying, we'll do it after the elections, once the cabinet approves, when new government is formed. Why that? Do it 2 months back. Follow us and do it 2 months back. But you won't do it. Because you have to go on Vipassana, you have to go to this election, that election, evade all ED notices. And there is nothing in women welfare that you are concerned about. All you are concerned about is votes, how you can get more votes, and how your candidates in Delhi can be little over nota. That is it. That is all you want.
Akshay Marathe, what's your timeline? One thing, Siddharth has a point. The Ladli Behna scheme worked because even before the vote was cast, the money had checked into the bank accounts.
Preeti, I want to correct the BJP spokesperson that this is not a pre-election promise that has been made in an election rally. It has been made as part of the budget of this year passed by the Delhi Assembly. It was introduced today in the Delhi Legislative Assembly by Finance Minister Ms. Atishi. It was introduced by the Finance Minister. The Chief Minister has made a promise after the budget speech was made by the Finance Minister. So it is not some kind of electoral promise that has been made. We are committing Delhi government's funds. We are saying we will appropriate this X amount of money towards this scheme and we will implement it in this financial year. That is the timeline with budgets work. Now, coming to your point about political representation, Preeti, I want to clarify that both things are important and we cannot say that one has to happen at the cost of the other. Political representation can happen, but we also need to fix the economic incentives and structures within our society and our country. You see that there is a trickle-down economics vision that the Prime Minister and his party keeps harping on, where they are empowering all these big corporate houses. They think that the money will trickle down to the last man. We want to create an economy.
Four candidates that you've announced in Delhi, is there a woman in them, sir?
Preeti, can you let me finish my point? I was speaking a very important point about the economy, that we do not believe that trickle-down economy is working for India. We want to make a bottom-up economy where we are putting money directly into people's hands so that they can spend money on the economy, they can induce consumption, they can induce demand, and thereby inducing manufacturing capacity in our country, and that is where we think wealth creation will happen. And this is a cycle that you see in Western countries. You see value creation.
I'll ask you that question again before I go to Onika.
And that tax money is then used to fund welfare programs.
Akshay, you've spoken. Now allow me to come in for a rebuttal before I bring in Onika and take closing statements. Out of the four names that you've announced, is there a woman representing Delhi? Or out of all names that you've announced right now for your Lok Sabha seats, is there a woman representing Delhi? Delhi or Gujarat? Akshay Marathe? There isn't. Anyway, that's a rhetorical
Punjab
question.
list has not been announced yet.
Okay, fine. Okay,
Your
Punjab list is yet to come. We're hoping that we'll find some women there. Fair enough. Onika Marotra, closing statements, ma'am, 20 seconds. There's none the richer. All three of you might argue against each other. You guys are doing exactly the same thing. And ultimately, this is appeasement. Onika Marotra, closing comments.
No, I don't think so, Preeti, because it was we who gave 50% reservation to women. So it's the Congress party who was a champion of women empowerment all throughout. And for 33% reservation also, we pitched in the bill. The BJP never did that when they were, in the opposition. Now, the point is, if you're going to have ifs and buts and not implement the bill, then obviously a question will be raised. So the intent is not there. It's just a false promise, the same gimmicks that the Prime Minister and the Bharatiya Janata Party says of the guarantees. So unlike the guarantees, it has to be on the ground and we want to see the light of the day.
Akshay Marathe, Siddharth did say that it's a part of the budget. It's got nothing to do with it. They will roll it out irrespective of whether they win Delhi or not in Lok Sabha.
Preeti, there's a very big difference between we will do it and we are doing it.
But they are doing it, that's what they're saying.
They are not. They could have done it 2 months back. I'm saying you're going to polls. You could have done it 2 months back. You didn't do it. But on the question of how many women candidates are they going to field, I'm
going to cut.
They have fielded Mahabal Mishra, whom they used to accuse of corruption, father of Vinay Mishra, their own MLA, but they could not even field one woman. We have fielded 2 out of 5. Can you do it? Is the question.
Representation is something which cuts across party lines because it's in this way.